Hey, welcome back to the Pure Read Podcast Show. This is Charlie Shaw, your host. Today's topic is going to be basically a book report that my mentor assigned to me. Stephen Covey, Stephen Covey's book, The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. I also have a guest with me today. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm just somebody who's eager to learn. It's Kevin Lee. How you doing? I've known Charlie for a little bit, and I'm here to learn.
Right. Tell me, you also have a podcast show.
Well, and that's why I'm here to learn. I do have a podcast. It's called the Seniority Report, and it's kind of geared toward uh, more of what we're doing, life after, and people who have stories to tell.
Right.
So I'm into that, trying to figure it out.
Well, Kevin and I, we also work out together over at Auburndale CrossFit, and we reconnected. We used to work together with Orange County back in the day. He was there for how many years? 20,
28.
28 years. I was only there for about 5. I left in '03 and went to the Marshal Service. And it's amazing that we had a long span where we didn't see each other, and now we're reconnected back after our careers, and now we're talking about motivating, inspiring others through our actions after retirement. And I think that that's amazing, man.
It is. It's a good place to be. I don't know if I ever thought I would be where we are right now.
I wouldn't have guessed this. I really wouldn't have guessed the journey that we're on, or the transition that we're into now.
It is a transition.
Right, with our health, with our lives, period. Trying to relearn and think of new creative ideas to better ourselves along the way, but not losing focus that we're not in the world by ourselves. We want to also motivate and inspire, the generation after us to do great things as well. And I think that's a good gesture to, if someone wants to receive a little advice, from us, that where we're sharing our hiccups, our success, our wins, our losses. If you want to take it, you take it. If you don't, you don't. But we want to try to help you along the way.
Right.
So let's get into the book.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Man, let me tell you. So my mentor referred that book to me. Referred the seven habits of highly successful people to me. And I couldn't understand. I heard the book. Yeah, I heard people read the book, and I also, knew that, hey, all these motivational books are the same. But they just spin it different ways. But what I'm finding is that the spin is actually a good spin. We're going to get into the 7 different habits, and I found that they're spot on. For example, the first one, be proactive. What do you gather from being proactive with what you're doing today?
Oh, calling you and saying, "Hey, let's meet up
Right.
and take care of this."
Right.
Much less getting up and going to the gym. There's all kinds of proactive things that I guess what I'm gathering from that is being proactive versus just doing a routine because you're used to it.
Right. Right.
Because that's not proactive.
Well, it's funny that you said that. That was one of the first bullet points I put up there. Take an initiative, and for most of the listeners, take an initiative in your career. We're taking initiative post-career by going to the gym, by learning more about podcasting. So we're moving in those directions. Also, embracing opportunities and changes in our new roles, because there's a lot of opportunity and challenges in our new role, and there's a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
Like we were fumbling around just a minute ago, just trying to get the YouTube, get our video. We're also videotaping this, saving it and then uploading it. So
Yeah, it's a process.
yeah, I hate to say we're a couple senior folks that's trying to learn new technology, but we're not allowing those hurdles or obstacles to stop us from completing our mission. And another thing is the importance of positive mindset and determination. What's your take on that?
Positive mindset is, I think we actually just just covered that in another thing that we had talked about, being in a situation where you would sign up for something that you would have never have dreamed of signing up for.
Well, tell them what we signed up for.
Oh, we signed up for a CrossFit competition, and that was still a big deal. I got goosebumps just saying it.
Right.
Because they're talking, you're gonna have like a fan club and people will be watching you, and it's like there's like that good kind of pressure that you created.
Right.
You didn't have to do it.
Right.
So
Now, we're not already Xing it, we're scaling ours. We know our limitations, but we're participating. We're challenging ourselves, man. We're taking on new opportunities.
yeah, and that's something I would have never done.
Right. So we're basically aligning our actions with our personal goals and values, and that is going into the other half of our life. We're concentrating on our mental health as well as our physical health, and I think that's very important.
Huge.
Right. And then we're also developing a sense of control over our journey, which is what I've always tried to take care of. I want to be in control of my destiny, and I think that more people should try that.
Right.
I hope they do. Let's move on to the second habit. Begin with an end in mind. What do you think that means?
Say that again. Let me ponder this.
Begin with the ending in mind.
I think I might be bad at that because even like in your career, like you begin and there's going to be an end, but you really don't think about it. Like it just kind of creeps up on you. I think a lot of people are like that, but very, very seldom. Personally, I think that's a flaw of mine. Is just like we were just talking about. I know there's to look forward to like a date, like a CrossFit date. This date is going to happen. Like that's an end. But normally, that would be something that I personally would need to work on.
Well, in the book it says clarifying your purpose, setting goals for new opportunities.
Yeah.
They're mainly talking about one's career, but I equate this to your personal as well as your professional.
It's everything. That's
right.
I think it's good that you can find your flaws.
Right.
Because that's
right.
what you just said is a major flaw of mine because even if I think long term, I don't think the end.
Right. That should be clear.
Yeah.
But we're going to have hiccups along the way. There's going to be, things that's going to have to change your plan, but you can readjust.
Yeah.
Readjust.
Adopt, overcome, etc.
So, as long as you have a vision, anything's possible. You can adjust.
Right.
Setting specifics, having actionable goals that you can complete. It's just like what we do in the gym. We're going to work on a bench press, or we're going to work on our run.
Yeah.
But you have to build. You have to bite off just enough that you can handle and build on top of that.
Well, what you did was you just made me think about something I never would have thought about. Like even with the podcast, like I could have a realistic goal of saying I want 50,000 listeners.
Right. Is that realistic at this stage?
I think it's realistic if I set a time frame for it, but
right.
To be honest, before you just said that, I wasn't thinking that way.
Mm-hmm. As long as you set your, what is it called, reasonable expectations.
Yeah.
And accept that, I think that anything is possible. In the book, they talk about the importance of having a clear roadmap for success, and I think you touched on that.
Yeah, and no, I think you touched on it. I didn't know anything about it before you just said it.
Well, it's what I got back to earlier. We've been in training, and we've seen, we've witnessed different training material that's helped us set ourselves up like that, and a lot of stuff is repeated. You just got to find something that's applicable to you. Mm-hmm. and your journey. Let's move on to number 3. Put first things first. To me, putting first things first is prioritizing your tasks and aligning it with your goals and your values.
Yeah, and unlike the last thing you said, that I had always, just because of your job, and that's kind of the nature of the job,
Mhm.
is first things first. You don't, when you complete a task in law enforcement, especially as a supervisor, it's like you always think the first thing I have to do is this,
Right.
and that comes so natural that I don't think about that because that's just kind of ingrained.
Mhm.
Because I guess the moral of that story is that everybody's got a specialty, whether they're aware of it or not.
Right. And here's something else that they mentioned: effective time management and quality improvement. I'm not gonna lie. There's been times where I didn't make good use of I didn't manage my time properly. But that all comes with keeping yourself organized and committing to the personal growth and your passions. Identifying and focusing on high impact activities. What's important? Could I could I put could I put something off for tomorrow that I can do today, or
Right.
or is that even important to address? How is that going to affect the bottom line? Right now, let's go back to getting prepared for the competition. There's things that we need to work on, even though we can do most of the skills because they're and they're going to be challenging.
Yes.
Are we gonna work on something that's not in the competition, or should we brush up on what's in the competition?
Yeah, I've been actually doing what's in the competition, and well, the classes that we go to, they are what they are, but it's like the after.
The after,
Yeah,
warming up before the class so that you can get the most out of that class, and then afterwards, you know what? If we don't address it if he doesn't have that on board for us to address during class, then what do? We take 20 minutes, 30 minutes after class, and work on that lift.
and you're smart enough to know when not to do something because I'm not, you got to take a day off if you feel a little injured or tweaked because you want to be straight for that day. So you don't want to overtrain. Is
Well, that's something that's in the third habit is leverage your past experience to enhance your new endeavors. You know what's going to affect your performance.
Yep.
You know what's going to be your positive and negatives for it. So leverage those opportunities, or don't push it.
Yeah,
One or the other.
people don't appreciate the powers of rest.
You know. Well, speaking of powers of rest, we really got to avoid distractions and maintain focus. Like, you have to get your proper rest. You have to eat properly.
Yeah, and certain things like, I guess falling back on the gym thing again, like going to the gym under those conditions, it makes you eat better.
Right.
Like you don't really have to. You perform better when you eat better, and I may not eat as much quote unquote garbage as I used to,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. It's not really one of those conscious things. I go, well, I gotta eat this today. It's like there's more yogurt in my fridge than ever in my life right now.
There you go. Well, let's look at it from our business sense with our podcast. How do you avoid distractions and maintain focus in developing your podcast show?
Look, it's kind of weird because, like we were talking about, like we're getting more and more comfortable as we do this,
Mm-hmm.
and to try not to sound so mechanical and try to overthink things. I think that just comes with experience, like
Right.
anything else. Like you're way more comfortable today than you were 6 weeks ago doing this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it reflects in our conversations.
You know, back in May, I had distractions going on. I took a pause from podcasting. I was, if it was my primary employment, that wouldn't have been good.
Yeah, exactly.
That wouldn't have been good. But I decided that I was going to regroup, go seek a little training from some experts, which we're going to talk about later. From some people that's more familiar than I am in the field of public speaking and podcasting, and just gain a little bit more insight. You know, using them to help me develop better habits. Moving on to number 4, think win-win. Thinking win-win is creating a positive outcome for our audience, our family, our friends. Building relationships, seeking mutual beneficial solutions, enhancing the professional relationships, fostering supportive environments. We do that with each other.
Yeah, yeah.
Matter of fact, we're lucky enough where we're doing that both. We're working on our physical health as well as working on our podcast. What's your take on the win-wins?
No, it is. I mean, to be honest, like both things that you just mentioned, I'm further along than once again, getting back to not thinking toward an end thing. Yeah, well, this is something that I wanted to do. I'll give you an example of back in the day, like every cop I think I ever talked to that didn't leave salty or someone like, hey, I want to write a book one day, because back then
Right.
it was books and
Yeah.
write a book
That was
called
the
10-8
go-to.
or it was like because you got a lot of stories in your head.
Yeah.
And it's insane that when you get done, you don't really want to talk about it.
You don't really want to talk about it.
Like we're talking about other stuff. I know you got like 1,000 stories. I got like 1,000 stories, but it's like people and events are much more interesting.
Right. I also think, and they mention it, is another win-win is building a network of support of your peers and your friends and mentors. We mentor each other on this.
Yeah.
And we seek mentors outside of our you and I circle for other things. It took me a lot to ask somebody, hey, do you mind looking at my material, checking me out, really critiquing me? Because I want to win.
Yep. And certain things. Quick little story about how we ended up in this room, because this all started because it's something I always wanted to do.
Right.
But I ended up getting a sandwich at the bodega next door.
Right next door.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there and I order a sandwich, and it's coincidentally the guy that was sitting at the table ordered the exact same sandwich.
Okay.
So he made a comment, and we start talking and everything, and he's like, well, what do you do? And I'm like, I eat sandwiches. I don't know. I'm retired. I don't know.
You really wasn't up for no conversation, dude. I'm trying to get a sandwich and get up out of here.
I wouldn't expected it, but he said he was into some advertising and things like that. And
I think I met that guy. He was in here. Well, you introduced me to him when you first met.
Okay, yeah. Isaac, I think his name was. And so I come over with him. He shows me where this place is.
Right.
So I walk in the door, and he introduces me to a couple of people just kind of standing around. And one of them was that turned out to be a good friend, Santiago. He's standing there. And hey, he asked me questions. I'm like, yeah, one day I want to do like a podcast, and what do I get? Which I still owe him for all this. He's like, I'm ready to do one right now, because he has a podcast show.
Right.
And he's like, come on, do it right now. He's like, come on, man. He's a very motivational guy. So next thing you know, I'm in here and I'm on his show doing this. And
he was just trying to get a sandwich.
Yeah. And next thing you know, I'm on like a podcast show to me, which was incredible. And so we hook up every once in a while and we talk some current events.
Well, as Habit 4 said, that's encouraging positive and inclusive community.
Yeah.
It's a community.
Positive people. He didn't have to do that.
He did not have to do
This
that.
guy told us, I hadn't talked to that guy since. He just got me over here. It was nothing in it for him. He wasn't like working on a commission or nothing. It was just a conversation, and he led me somewhere.
Man. That's it. That's usually how it happens. Well, that's how we found out about each other, just through conversation. That's your habit too. I mean, your hobby also. So, the closeout. The 4th habit, we got to share. We got to celebrate sharing successes and milestones. We have to celebrate that
We experience that every morning in the gym.
every morning. Like you're the 8 o'clock on the 9 o'clock. We're cheering you guys on when we know you're struggling, man. I'm like, man, that looked like it's gonna hurt today. So
I know your listeners don't know people, but yesterday we were doing like the wall walks, and I was like done, and one of the guys, Heath, came over,
right.
and he just got down, and he was like, "Come on, you got," he put me through it.
He counted you. He counted. He was like, "You got it." It was 7 wall walks. I think you had like 4 left. You was like, "I'm not doing it anymore." He was like, "Okay, you get up."
You doing this, and it's like I did it, but he didn't have to do that. He could have sat over there and drank
Mind his business.
Yeah, he didn't have to make me do what I didn't think I could do.
Right.
But apparently I could.
Right. Oh, I know you can.
Yeah, but those people, but you know how it is. Like I think we said in another show, the hard part was walking in the door, but there are plenty of people around to motivate you besides the coaches.
Right.
The coaches kind of get paid for it.
Yeah.
But the people who are just in there, like just wanting to see you do good.
Success, man. We're celebrating that. We celebrate just walking in. Even if you don't complete a whole session in the allotted time, you were successful just coming through the door.
And I know that she didn't coin the phrase, but my grandmother was like, don't be like those people that just equating people to a bunch of crabs pulling each other back into the pot.
Right.
Like I don't know if you ever grew up in
crabs in a bucket.
Yeah, it's like it's so true. Like if one gets out, they all reach up and they pull them back in, and she's like, don't ever be a crab in a bucket.
That crab that got to the top is that we're trying to pull them up. That's the way we're looking at life, is pulling them out of.
Yeah, we should not know what a crab cake is, but instead we eat them all.
All right, let's fall into the 5th habit. What is this here? Seek first to understand, then to be understood. This is the importance of effective listening and your communication. Strengthening, commitment to effective communication and collaborating. Techniques for active and empathetic listening. Building trust and rapport with friends, our guests, our audience. Creating content that is that will resonate deeper levels. For this one, I wanted to talk about this, talk about the book. I think that if someone has a book, share it with somebody. If you can't find somebody that doesn't have the 7 habits, go get the book. You can get it on Amazon, or you can go into your local bookstore. I just think that this, there's a powerful message. Now there's a few pages, but take your time. Read a chapter a night.
Well, I think that's healthier in general, because of, I don't mean to sound like make it a generational thing, but to be honest, I think people are smarter who actually will sit down and absorb what's in a book, versus we live in an age now of a quick TikTok video, or let me get this and that, and nobody does any. It's always just like so compact and not full of information that you need, and everybody goes, "Oh, it's like you didn't learn anything. You only learn something when you see what's on the other side of that too." Right. Like, kind of like I'll equate it to police work, because apparently I can't do anything else.
About that.
Yeah, it's just like, we always say there's your side, my side, and there's the truth.
Yes.
And people do not use their brain powers to figure things out. They just take so much at face value these days. Mm-hmm. And that's my little gripe about that. So I'm done.
The next habit, the 6th habit, synergize. Leveraging collaboration to expand reach and impact. Engaging guests, friends, family, building partnerships, fostering a community. And the last one, I moved here to this community 3 years ago, and I'm very comfortable in this town. I'm very comfortable in it. Met a lot of good people through the activities that I do. Messing around over at the rec center with the pickleball. Yes, I play pickleball.
Don't be ashamed. I'm not allowed to mention that in my house, but I have some rackets in the car, and I think it's a wonderful rec center.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. Don't underestimate them. The folks that the demographic that play pickleball. They'll move you around that court.
I saw a 75-year-old dude tune some people up.
And once again, our CrossFit gym as well. They're very important. They're very important to us. And then building relationships like what we have, and also meeting other people that have same kind of interests. Now, like I said, we're going back and forth with our podcast, new habits, our fitness. I'm starting to think that a lot of this is for good mental and physical health. Developing new skills, good mental, physical health. Developing new habits, good mental and physical health.
Yeah, it's in this day and age and in the 21st century, I know you're gonna have to go soon, but let me just say this. Mental health is huge. It's something that's been overlooked for so many centuries.
Mm-hmm.
and I mean that in the sense that, this man is insane. Let's throw him in the nut house.
Yeah.
This woman's insane. Let's do this. This handicapped person is insane.
Yeah.
We've had a history of doing that, and we have to get all the way to the 21st century before somebody says, hey, mental health issues are real, and
They're real.
you don't have to be committed to deal with them.
Going to touch on a few more points on the sixth habit, and that is the importance of teamwork, and also creating joint projects with others, building a diverse community, encouraging others to create.
You just described the gym.
Right. strengthening our relationships with our peers and family and friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then most importantly is celebrating the benefits that we gain from that.
Yes, and in that case, so we're talking about it's life, and I would say like these shows, I guess maybe it'll depend. It depends on who you are, because sometimes had enough recognition in your life. Like, some people I just want to be. I got a lot of friends like that. Just
Right.
hey, just leave me alone. I'm gonna grow my beard, and I'm gonna look like a dirty biker, and I'm gonna.
Are you trying to tell me I should shave for
No, you got a long way to go before you get to the people I'm talking about. They're like, yeah, hey, I'm done with that. I'm done with that whole Disney grooming myself stuff. You all good, man.
Right.
Enjoy yourself.
So, getting to the seventh habit, and that one is sharpening your sword. I mean, well, not your sword. I apologize. Sharpening the saw. What that means is prioritizing self-care, lifelong learning, and personal reflection. Focusing on physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Continuous improvement for personal well-being and professional success.
Yeah.
You want to elaborate on any of that?
Well, I think I'm doing that now because
Right.
you don't, we had talked on occasion about you not putting yourself first,
Right.
and your long-term goals normally didn't involve your health.
Right.
And as far as, what was the last two things you said?
The last two things was continuous improvement of personal well-being and professional success.
Yeah, and that's kind of it. Like, I don't know, like sometimes when like retirement, once again, like nobody teaches you how to retire. It is, people will always harp on having your money right,
Right.
but not
There's
what
more
to
to that.
do with your time.
There's more to that.
Yeah, even if you choose not to work again, you still can't lie dormant.
Yes.
And I have a 94-year-old woman once told me, and she lives at home alone.
Right.
She has a little workout set down in her little basement, probably like a 1950s freaking
Whole
dining room
setup.
set. Yeah, she lives in a huge house. And she goes, see that? And she pointed to her wall. And on her wall, there's a list. 11 o'clock vacuum, 12 o'clock lunch.
A routine,
Yeah.
schedule.
And she follows it to the T. Go get my nails done on Wednesday at 3 o'clock. Like there's no, she's got a wake up time. Her alarm goes off at 7 o'clock in the morning. She gets her ass up. She doesn't just lay around.
Right.
And that is the key to life. She's like, you have to have a purpose to get up in the morning.
You know, before I retired, and a lot of people was telling me that. And I've really tried hard to, remember, always keep a routine, because I was on routine during, the time that I was working. But did you have any fears when you retired? Were there any fears that you had?
Oh, there were like hundreds of fears because you never retired before. It's like, it's a first.
Yeah, it's a first.
Yeah.
So it was okay for me to listen to a few people, take it in and try to prioritize what was important to me and improve my well-being. And one of the things that I feared was, am I gonna have a purpose?
Yeah, you get ate up with that, like my purpose is over, and that's not always true. And it's like, I guess it's for you to develop a new purpose,
Right.
and lose your old identity.
Your old identity, and that's what I was. That's the old identity, and I was okay with it. I didn't, my badge didn't justify who I am.
No.
It was a career, and I accepted that as such. But now I got to get to know who is Charlie Shaw outside of work.
Exactly, and a lot of times you don't know. There are a lot of people that are still clinging on to that badge and can't lose their identity or their rank or don't know what they're going to do, and all their friends work there.
I'm here to tell them they're going to be fine.
But it's hard to leave. I mean, I know several people that are still there, and
Right.
it's because of that very reason.
Yeah.
It's not financial.
Yeah.
It's not. There's just some people love what they do. I get that.
I get it also. I love what I did. Listen, Kev, let me tell you something. Every month for a week, I was always in South America traveling. For a week. I would leave on a Sunday, come back on a Saturday, and then rotate that in 3 weeks. And I enjoyed that lifestyle. It was hard for me to give that up.
And it's kind of getting back to what's on your list, but did you plan on doing that until the day you died?
No, I didn't.
And that's
I knew it was going to come to an end.
Yeah, but that's what people, that's a perfect, people don't think that way. They don't think this is going to end. I'll just stay here because, and they come up with every excuse in the world, and we've talked about that before too. The economy's not right now. The housing market,
Right.
I got to pay for this
Always
boat.
excuses.
I got to do, it's like everything except is going to come to an end. So
Yes.
that is, of all the points that you made, that one resonates the most for me because that's something that I had never done.
Well, leading into that, there's 4 more. Developing balance approach to personal development. Setting aside time to relax and rejuvenate. Engaging in ongoing education and skill building. Reflecting on experiences gained. They're also telling us to relax too.
Yeah, and an experience, hey, I've done some, people don't get, a lot because sometimes you screw up a lot and you learn from your mistakes and
Right.
yada, yada, yada.
And I just stroll down a little further. Building routine for long-term success. The lady that kept a schedule, kept her alarm clock on.
Yeah.
I still wake up at 5:30 in the morning, and
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. I get up, I walk around.
Yeah.
Some mornings I walk my low route, which is a mile from the house and back, and it's basically walking up to the town center and come on back, and then I get ready and come on in and get beat up at the gym.
Yeah, there's no reason to lay in bed until 9, 10
No,
o'clock.
there's
There's just not. And by then, when you get up for it, because it's now they run into the hottest part of the day because it's summer. We live in Florida with 106-degree heat index. Like your time to be thriving in Florida is between 5 and 10 o'clock in the morning.
Right. Yeah, you got to get up before. If you're not moving by 10 o'clock, you may as well just stay inside.
Yeah, you got
Stay
it.
in, stay in some shade.
Get up, do 2 or 3 hours worth of stuff, and then you can even go back to bed after that. But get up.
Right.
There's so many people I know that just, what'd you do? I just a bit. It's like every day.
Right.
Just,
Every day.
Yeah, that's not healthy.
Well, I want to sum this up, but what have you got from this book?
That I have a lot of issues that you're helping me fix. There's a lot of good stuff in there. That
Right.
seriously, we talked about 4 or 5 things that apply to me personally that I did not really think about.
Right. Well, I'm gonna reread the book again because I think that it's a good guide to empower one to build better relationships, communicate better, grow, and also have a meaningful impact on others.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna use it as a guideline.
Well, because me sometimes I'm kind of go through like, I get fortunate sometimes, but a lot of times I go through life like Mr. Magoo, like this shit just happens to me that happens to be good. Like I meet the right people, I go to the right places, and like sometimes it doesn't occur to me that a lot of things are just more than blessings.
Right.
And it's one of those things like you got to step back. Like you reading those points, it just made me just step back and go, hey, wow, some of those things are fine, and other parts are I see in other people, and then some I see in me.
Right. Well, just remember we're both on transition into the next part of our lives or careers or what have you. As long as we find and seek out different ways to make that journey easier, you win. That's a win for you. And on that note, I'm going to close out the show, and I look forward to doing more podcasts with you in the future, brother.
How time flies. Thank you for that. It was super informative and actually gives me a lot to think about.
All right, maybe I'll pick up another book and try to see if we can find some good use out of that for our personal as well as our professional life.
Good of the order, I would totally appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right, thank you.